Hi, my name is Jim Bala. I'm the SnowDogg Tech at Buyers Products. Today's video, we are going to put together a VXF plow. What we have in front of us is the VX95, which is part number 1602 0734, and also the lift frame assembly that goes with it, which is good for the VX95 and the VXF85. That part number is a 1601 3006. So our first step, we'll unpack the wings out of the crate. So here's some of the tools that you're going to need to build or assemble the V-plow. What you're going to need is a dead blow hammer, a pry bar, 2 blocks of wood that you're going to put under the spring tower. You're going to need strap to lift the V-plows out of the crate, grease gun, a vice grip, a cordless drill with a socket on it. Again, you're going to need, half-inch socket, 9/16, and a 3/4. An Allen bit. Then you need a 3/8 ratchet, channel locks, and then assortment of wrenches, 3/4, 9/16, half-inch, and 7/16. And that should pretty much complete the tools that you need to assemble a V-plow. What we're going to do now is lift one of the wings out of the crate. What we have is a crane with some straps and make sure it's safe. Also, you can use a tow motor or actually a couple of your buddies. Grab it and we get it down to the floor. So the next step is we're going to take the other wing out of the crate and line it up with our passenger side wing. You might have to take a piece of wood off the crate, and then after we set it up on the floor, we want to take off the shipping bracket too. To aid in the assembly, what I do is I take a 4x4 block of wood, which actually I got off the crate of the wings, and I put it under the spring tower. This way it stabilizes the wings for when we put the lift frame assembly to the center of the VXF. After we've removed the wings from the crate, below the wings will be your snow deflectors. So we'll just put these to the side for right now, and then we'll go check out the lift frame box. One of the components in the lift frame assembly box will be your hardware box, which is a large square box. What's in the box is your center deflector, your blade guides, your controller, and of course the part number for the controller. Make sure it's a V-plow controller because we're working on a V-plow, which it is. You got some pins here. That goes for the cylinders. And then we have the center pin, which we're going to put inside the center of the V-plow in a few seconds here. The next item will be your harness box, which is part number 1616 0052. And what's in this box is your harnesses. So here's some parts to the harnesses. Your light harness, relay pack, your control harness, got some ties, your solenoid, and of course your morning coffee cup. And for some of you that get cold when you're plowing, a little snow cap for you. That's in the next box. And then our final box will be the light tower, which is boxed up. I'm not going to open it now, but this is what it comes like, shaped like. Or I guess I could open it up now. And there's your light tower. So we'll put this back in the cardboard so we don't damage it till we assemble the lift frame to the wings. Oh, also, we have our plow installation manual. That's at the bottom of the box too. And of course, this is your best friend. And make sure you follow the directions. So the next step, of course, is we got to remove the box from the skid. Just so we get to the lift frame assembly. So what you can do is just lift it up on all four corners. Move it out of the way. Of course, what I do is do the old folding. All right, now you have a garbage box. Before I bring the lift frame assembly in, what I usually do is take the center pin and just kind of line both wings up so they're easier to align. If it's not going to go through, and probably just have to wiggle a little bit just to make sure that the center pin goes through. Now I'm going to take the lift frame assembly and move it toward the wings, and let's get all these three components together. All right, so before I bring in the lift frame assembly on the skid with the pallet jack and all that stuff, we have our center section, and then we have our two holes where the cylinders go. So all three of these have to go in at the same time. If the center section goes in, you might have to raise up the lift cylinders a little bit just to get over that lip to get in the holes. So what we're going to do now is bring it in, get it close. Again, using the pallet jack is nice because you can adjust it up and down. So looks like my cylinder or my center section is a little bit past there. So what I'm doing is I'm going to lift up the cylinders so they get into the groove where they're supposed to be. And it looks like we're pretty close in the center, so I'm going to grab the center pin and just move it a little bit, get it started. I call it shake and bake, but it's really just shake the wings a little bit, and most of the time the center pin should just fall right in. In some circumstances, again, we have three moving parts here. So I got it down to a point where I kind of just don't, it's kind of stuck a little bit, but not really stuck. But what I'm going to do is just grab a dead blow hammer and just tap it down a little bit, because I can't really get my hand in there, so I'll just tap it down. But what you want to do is you don't want to go all the way down, because you still have to put a cotter pin and a washer on there. So get to about like a 1/4 inch away from the top of the surface here, and then we'll put the washer and cotter pin on. As I put the washer on, and then I get the cotter pin through, and then we're going to have to take the cotter pin and, of course, open it up so the pin doesn't come out. At this point of the installation, what we want to do for easy access to get to the pin for the double acting cylinders is we're going to just remove the blocks from underneath the spring tower. So we have access to moving the wings back and forth, so we could put the pin in the double acting angle cylinders. Again, you might have to move the wings in or out. Make sure it drops all the way in. Now sometimes the ram on the cylinder might be twisted a little bit, so you might have to make sure they're straight, so the pin goes down and straight. So the next thing I'm going to do is just take the washer and the snap pin and put it on the pin. So here's a quick example of our new snap pins. So here's your pin for your cylinder. So the washer goes on, but then we're going to slide this snap pin on. Okay, once it's on, what we're going to do is take the one little part of the pin and flip it over, so now it's locked on. Now it won't come loose. So once we get these on the angle cylinders, our next step will be to take the skid away and get the foot pedal down and get that lift frame assembly upright and ready to go. All right, so now we're at a point where we got to take the skid away from the lift frame assembly. There's a few ways to do it. You actually, if you have a crane, you can attach it to the lift arm, raise it up, tow motor, to the strap. There's many things. Right now, we're going to do probably the hardest thing that you could do, which is lifting up the lift frame assembly and sliding the pallet jack out. What I'm going to do is slide up halfway so it clears the drop pedal. Once the drop pedal is cleared, I'm going to lower it down and then drop the drop pedal so we can get it off that skid. And now that we have the V-plow standing on its own, we want to come look at the front of the power unit, which has, if I take this little thumb screw out, what we have is our vent for our hydraulic tank. And then also, which is really nice about the Rapid Link, it's a quick start guide for dismount and mount, so you always want to read that. And of course, check out our YouTube channel for mounting and dismounting with the Rapid Link. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the cover off. We're going to take the plug out. Again, remember that oil is put in at the factory, so you don't have to put any oil in. And we're just going to put this vent plug in for proper ventilation of the power unit. So I'll take the vent plug out. Make sure you take any extra or excess Teflon tape out of there so it doesn't get in the system. So the vent plug comes with Teflon tape on it. So what we're going to do is just put it right in there. We're going to take a 3/4 inch wrench. Tighten it up. And then I'm actually going to take a 7/16 wrench and snug up the actual vent itself on top. And then we'll put the covers back on. And the next step, we'll be putting the light tower on. All right, so here we have the light tower. You got our bolt here with Loctite on it, so you notice the blue coating on there. line up the hole. Let's get one bolt started. Let's go on the other side. And then the two in the back will be the ones that get the washer, the stainless steel washer, because there's a slot back there. So bolt with the washer in back. And now just tighten them up. And now what we want to do is go get the LED illuminator lights and we'll mount those. We'll run the harnesses up, tie them up, and we're almost complete. So here's our new LED illuminator lights, which is part number 16160-800. One thing you got to remember is there is a left and a right, and this is indicated on the back. We'll say left lamp or right lamp. So left is always when you're sitting in the truck. So left is this side, so is the driver's side. So we're gonna put it on this side. So just gotta undo the nuts. A couple washers. Now what's nice about these lights is they're actually retroactive or retrofitting, where even on the Gen 1 plow, you just got to plug the lights in. But a quick reference is that the LED lights at this time will not work with any switched ground trucks. So make sure you look at your plow selector or application guide before you would like a pair of the LED lights. Of course, the same mounting will be on the passenger side. And then we're going to wire it up. Make sure you take off the protective plastic. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the harness and we're going to feed it up through this channel, through a hole in right below the light, and plug it in. Again, make sure you have dielectric grease when you plug it in. So as I'm putting the ties on the light harness, just make sure that when you do bend the harness that goes up into the light, it's not a super sharp bend. We don't want any sharp bends or rubbing anywhere. So again, make sure pay attention. Make sure everything's snapped in correctly. All the pins are in tight. And it's tied up. And then we'll go to the next side. So now we're going to take the center deflector and install it, and it takes 2 bolts. So we're going to slide it over the center section here. Get the 1 bolt started. Get the other one on, and let's get these nuts on. Now we're going to snug it up. Now let's move on to the plow markers. So to install the plow markers, of course there's two, one on each side. Very simple, just plow markers on the outside of the rib, bolt in, nut on. Then we're going to take another bolt, put it on. As I drop the nut, and I'm back, and start that. Of course, we're going to do that to both sides. Like I said, do it to the other side, and we're done. Now, I think the final thing is the snow deflectors. We'll get on that in a few seconds. So it's snow deflector time. So, of course, on a V-plow, there's two deflectors, passenger side and driver side. So make sure the V, as you see, a little cut angle, is toward the middle. So on the wings, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bolts. What you want to do is loosen the 3 middle bolts. And what we're going to do is we're going to take both ends, the bolts on both ends we're going to take off. This way we can slide the slots in, and then we're going to start with the hole. Mount that first and then slide it all the way up. So I'm going to take the 3/8 bolt out. On the inside, and I'll take the 3/8 bolt on the outside. So what I'm going to do is just, the deflector is going to go underneath the black strip, and we're going to slide it up on the other bolts. You got to wiggle, but again, you want to get that bolt started. And get that nut on so we don't lose it. I'm going to wiggle all the way to there. Then we'll get the end bolt in. So there's the driver side, and just do the opposite to the passenger side. Next, we're going to take a grease gun and grease the center pivot point of the V-plow. So you want to make sure you have a grease gun that has a tapered grease fitting, so you plug into each one of the holes on the main pivot point. Pump enough grease in there so you can see it coming through the hinge. You also want to make sure that you do this on a regular basis for routine maintenance. This will make sure that your plow lives as long as it possibly can. There's more, because one thing we have to do is make sure we put dust covers on the plow side harness grill connectors. So what you want to do is, we have a female and a male plug. You want to take the dust cover. Of course, this one has, you can see little plugs in there, and just stretch it out a little bit. Get it over the plug. Take it. Go this way. Get it over it. Then it should lock within itself on the little tab. There you have it. And then the next one, same thing. Got to make sure I kind of just put it on first. Kind of goes in there, so I know which way that rubber has to go. Put it in the cap. Again, same thing. It goes on this little tab, and there you have it. Thank you for watching this video on the assembly of the VXF95 plow. Of course, same video for the VXF85 and also the VMD75. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, if you have any questions, give us a call or email us at buyersproducts.com. Happy plowing.